What's going on, y'all? We got a video from Jimmy High Roller, the harsh truth about Victor Wembanyama. Lately, the NBA has really been covering this dude a lot. And I mean, I've been hearing things like he's the most hyped up prospect since LeBron. I've seen a little bit of video on him. And I mean, he looks like he could be something special. We're gonna check this out. Let's get it, y'all.
In 1997, the San Antonio Spurs were one of the worst teams in the entire NBA, finishing the season with just 20 wins and with a rookie head coach leading the way. Their future was uncertain. Their two best players were an aging Dominique Wilkins just 1 year away from his last NBA season, and their franchise player in David Robinson, who was sidelined with a season-ending injury that would linger for the rest of his career. The franchise was in a downward spiral with no end in sight. But what they did have was one more chance to make it right. Coming off the worst season in franchise history, the Spurs were given the third best odds to get the first overall pick in the 1997 draft. Exactly what the organization needed to rejuvenate their roster. But according to pre-draft evaluations, the gap between the potential first pick and the third pick was massive. Get the third pick and settle for a small forward out of Utah named Keith Van Horn, or win the lottery and land on the best NBA prospect in over a decade, a 4-year starter out of Wake Forest by the name of Tim Duncan.
I was thinking about Tim Duncan. I'm like, was this the year Tim Duncan got drafted?
Would change forever.
I wasn't sure though.
The second pick in the 1997 NBA draft.
They don't still do this stuff in person, do they?
The Philadelphia 76ers.
I don't think they do.
And that means that the first pick in the 1997 NBA draft goes to the San Antonio Spurs. Congratulations.
See this guy right here? That's Spurs chairman Peter Holt. And in this moment, he was the happiest man on earth because he just won the first overall pick in the 97 NBA draft. Who he would pick was already a foregone conclusion. But not Peter or anyone else at the time knew that the Spurs just won the rights to one of the greatest players in the history of the game. And this very moment was the beginning of one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history. And now, 26 years later, luck would have it that the Spurs have found themselves right in the middle of another historic night once again, because they now have the rights to the #1 overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. And the prospect they plan on picking up is claimed to be bigger and better than anything we have ever seen. As we get closer to draft day, the hype surrounding Victor Wembanyama is growing by the minute.
Supposed to be
Experts
special.
and analysts claiming he's the greatest prospect in the history of the sport. Some even claiming he's the best prospect of any sport ever. The franchise that gets him believed to have hit the basketball jackpot that will set them up for 2 decades of success.
He's definitely
and
something special, he said.
But how good can
any
one
sport
prospect
ever, though?
actually be? Fans already talking about future championships for the Spurs since they've essentially landed Victor. But turning potential greatness into real winning and championships is a task that very few players
we'll have to wait and
ever
see.
been capable of doing.
We'll have to wait and see how Victor does in the league, you know?
Today's video is sponsored by
Thank you. Sing it with me, y'all. The thank you song. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, gosh. All right. Here we go.
And get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Out of the last 25 #1 overall draft picks, how many do y'all think have won a Finals MVP? Maybe 4 or 5?
LeBron.
How about 1? There has been one
That's it?
#1 overall pick in the last 25 seasons who
What?
has won a Finals
Wait, what?
MVP. But Finals MVP.
I just saw LeBron and just called out LeBron. What?
So what about regular season MVPs? How many of the last 25
Two?
first overall picks have
LeBron
won at
and
least
D
one of
Rose?
those? 2. LeBron James and Derrick Rose.
Look at me.
That's it. But how about this?
No
How many
AD,
of the
no
last
final,
25
no MVP
#1
for
overall
AD.
picks do you think have won a championship? They could be a role player for all I care. As long as they have a ring, it counts.
AD.
But the answer is still just 6.
Wiggins.
Winning in the NBA is very hard to do.
Andrew
But
Bogut.
fans and experts are already putting this burden on a kid who hasn't even been drafted yet. But we've done this before. Unrealistic hype and expectations met with inevitable disappointment. It feels like just yesterday, Zion Williamson was being regarded as the greatest basketball prospect of the decade. And yet here we are, 4 years later, and Zion has played in just 29 games over the last 2 seasons and has yet to play in a single playoff game. Great player,
yeah, it really
but
sucks
as of right
that,
now, far from the franchise-altering force he was hyped up to be. Here's another player who was said to be a generational prospect coming into the NBA.
We'll have to wait and see. NBA is a
that
different
he was the
ballgame,
successor
though,
to LeBron King
but
James.
he has been playing
This
pro
is
in
Ben
France.
Simmons, a player that was too
Guys
afraid
that play
to take a shot
professionally,
in a
they're just
playoff
used to
game
playing.
and peaked in his second season in the league. And we do this to young players far more
Oh,
often
wow,
than you would
did he
think.
just call out
DeAndre
Ben
Ayton is a solid NBA player.
Playing
Nowhere
professionally,
near a
though,
superstar, but he could be a key piece on a championship
in
winning
like
team.
France or something
now,
like that.
Would you believe that just 3
I
months
feel like
before
that's
he
so
was
good for your
drafted,
development.
he
You're
was
playing
labeled
against
as
grown
a,
men
quote,
at a young age.
In the moment, it always feels like
And
the next
you gotta
step
learn how to
is
grow
going
up
to
quick.
be
You gotta
the
learn
guy.
how to
And then shortly after, we forget
develop
about
your
the
game
unwarranted
quick,
comparisons and
And
move on to
college
the next
is
guy.
great
But to
for
really
development too,
understand
but like
how
if you're
rare
just
it is
thrown
to
in
draft
with
a
the
player
pros,
who
you're gonna
becomes
have
an
to learn
all-time
on the
great,
fly.
stays
you know?
healthy, and stays loyal to the franchise that drafted him.
Because
We have
all
to
of
look
those
at the
guys are
teams and
getting paid
players
to do what
who
they do.
actually did it. If we're talking about transcendent players who led the team
So,
that
I mean, now
drafted
with
them to
NIL,
multiple
some college
championships, then
players
that
are
list
too, but
only includes 7 players who were drafted in the modern NBA.
Oh,
Over
wow.
3,000 players drafted since 1980, and 7 of them went on to be a loyal, franchise-altering talent. These players right here are icons, legends in their franchise and
7?
to the game, and they only come around about once in a decade. Now,
Dang.
if Victor is as good as advertised, he could be added to this list one day. But the path to get there is long and riddled with players who fell short. But in the NBA, even the stars, superstars, and once-in-a-generation talents struggle to win the ultimate prize. Luka Doncic has been a phenom since he entered the NBA, so far exceeding all pre-draft expectations.
That dunk was nice that
And
they
yet
showed.
5 seasons into his NBA journey, and he has yet to see the finals, and even missed the playoffs in this last season. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball, but even he had to abandon the team that drafted him to join a juggernaut of a team to win a championship. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid,
haven't won it.
Of all-time great players who have yet to win a title or find any real success in the playoffs is massive, which makes the expectations on Wembanyama all the more baffling. To think that a 19-year-old can come into a struggling franchise and turn everything around may not be realistic.
Yeah, I don't think he'll change everything.
It may not even be fair to the young man.
But he can help.
Ironically, the best
He can help. I'm
directly
not
caused by a
expecting him
rookie
to
in modern
completely
NBA
change the
history
NBA franchise.
was
I'm
by
just
Tim
expecting
Duncan.
him
After the Spurs
to get
drafted
better
Duncan,
and better.
their win total jumped from 20
I don't know
wins
who's
in
expecting him to
1997
completely
to
turn around
56
an
wins
NBA
in
franchise.
1998. A 36-win jump in Timmy's first season with the team, and
Oh, wow.
a championship in his second season. This is by far the greatest leap a team has ever seen simply by adding a rookie to their roster. Larry Bird was another immediate franchise-altering player for the Celtics, but that was nearly half a century ago. LeBron couldn't do it, KD couldn't do it, Steph and Michael took years to pull it off. And yet somehow, we don't just want, but we expect this 19-year-old kid to do it. I really think some fans don't understand the pressure that they are putting on Wembanyama. He could be great, amazing, injury-free, generational, and to expect this level of excellence out of him could still be far too much. Over the past 25 seasons, the average MVP finishes the season
I will
with
say,
a win share total
when you're
of
playing
15.2.
professionally over in
Over
France,
that same time span, the
or
average
just
also
anywhere,
has
really,
a win share total of 10. And among
you're
the
not really
450
pressured the same
active
way you
players
are
in any given season,
in the US with all the media.
win share total across
That's
the
for
league
sure.
is just 2. Now, over the last 25 years,
you're,
among number 1 overall
you're
picks
not in the
their
spotlight
rookie
of the
season,
NBA
the average win share total is
as
4.2. That number jumps
you're
to
over
5.7
on the other
in
side
their
of the
second
world
season,
doing your own
and
thing,
then
you
hits
know?
7.9 in their third season. But by season 4, many of these once prodigies start to lose their minutes. They fall out of the rotation, they fail to adapt their game and skill sets to the NBA, and the average win share falls to 6.7. And by season 5, by the time we as fans have made a decision on these players, the average win share total falls to just 5.9. about the same as the
Dang,
average
wow.
starter in the NBA. This is the career of an average number 1 overall pick in the NBA. We see number 1 overall players as the guys who went on to have great
they start
careers.
to rise,
Guys like Kyrie
and then they fall a
Anthony
little
Davis
bit.
and
Wow.
LeBron. But we forget that far more
This is in
often,
win
these number 1
shares. Dang.
overall picks pan out to be players like Markelle Fultz, Andrea Bargnani, and Kwame Brown. But even
Dang.
for the groundbreaking prospects who are league ready the day they put on an NBA jersey, the result is still rarely a championship or real hardware.
Oh
or
yeah, that's
impact.
true.
Over the last 25
That's
years,
true.
the players who
They're-
had the largest
he's talking
impact
like
in their rookie
strictly
season
like
were
winning
Chris Paul,
championships,
Ben
which in
Simmons,
itself
and
is
Blake
very hard
Griffin,
to do.
followed by the 12 next best rookies of the last 25 seasons. You are looking at the greatest rookie seasons of this century.
He's already
and
talking
yet
about championships
only half
for
of them
Wembanyama.
were even the best
Oh,
player
no.
on their team by the end of their first
gonna
season in the
need-
league.
he's gonna need
But
some
I
more
want y'all to
pieces.
take a guess at how many of these
He's gonna need
players
some more
even made the
pieces.
playoffs in their rookie season. Got your answer? 2. Which means out of the 15
Dang.
best rookies who've entered the league over the last 25 seasons, not a single one of them led their team to the playoffs. And among these same 15
tough.
rookie sensations, by their third season in the league, only
Yeah,
4
so
of them
I think
managed
people
to
gotta
lead their
chill
team
on
to
the
playoffs
expectations.
as the best player on the team.
People,
It
a
is
lot of people
very
saying he's gonna
hard
lead them to the
win in the
playoffs and all
NBA,
that.
But
Like,
like some sort
you
of
gotta give him
gambling
some
addict,
time to
us NBA
adjust.
fans like to count
gotta
the
give him
wins
some time
while
to
ignoring
adjust.
the losses. Somehow the countless misses we've had are outweighed by the 1 or 2 we got right. Is Victor Wembanyama the most hyped NBA prospect of all time? Well, I'm not sure. Some experts that have been around a lot longer than I have would like to say so. But if my memory serves me right, I can recall a 17-year-old LeBron James drawing so much attention that he managed to have an Ohio high school basketball game featured on national television. Long
Dang.
before social media, the likes of LeBron James, Patrick Ewing,
And he
Kareem
lived up to the
Abdul-Jabbar
hype. He
were
more than
all
lived up
household
to the
names
hype, which
before
is
they
the
even put on
amazing
an
thing
NBA
about
jersey.
LeBron.
I don't know if Wembanyama
But
is
we'll-
at
we'll
that
have to
level
wait
of
and
hype
see,
at the
you know?
moment, but he's getting there. And with that amount
He's
of
been
hype
talked about,
comes
but at the same
overwhelming
time,
pressure to
like,
perform. It's easy to
he's
sit
been
back
playing
and
in
watch
France
this kid
and stuff
play,
like that,
see his
and
incredible
is
tools
he
in
playing in
action.
the-
7 feet
I guess
5
he's
inches
playing in the
tall,
G League
8 foot
right now,
wingspan
but
with
even
a
still,
silky
like,
smooth jump shot,
playing
world-class
in the
defensive
G League,
instincts,
you don't
and
get
one
the
can
same
only
attention.
assume he will find immediate
You don't
or
get the
even
same attention
eventual
that you would
success
as
in the
if you're
form of
playing in
championships
college, you know?
and cultural impact in the NBA. Coaches and scouts who have been around the game for decades and have seen every prospect rise through the ranks over the years are saying Victor Wembanyama is better than all of them. It
Wow.
would take an era-defining talent to come into the NBA and transform a franchise into a dynasty. But if
Wow.
Victor is everything we think he is, he may just be the next player to do it.
Wow. I don't know, y'all. Pressure's really on him, but hey, we'll just have to wait and see if he's able to rise to the occasion. I want to see if I can find some stats. I want to see if I can find some stats. Basketballreference.com. Okay, so he played for the Metropolitans this past season. So y'all, he's been playing pro for. He played 5 Euro Cup games in a span of 2 years, and then he played 18 games in France in 2021. He played a total of 29 games for two different leagues in 2022, and then this year he's played in 34 games. He's averaging 21 and a half a game, 10.4 rebounds, and 2.4 assists. Yeah, wow. Interesting. Wait, for the Metropolitans. Interesting. Is that a G League team? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, if the Metropolitans are a G League team, but no, I don't think so. I don't know. Hey, but let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think he's going to turn out to be? Let me know.